co-chair of the Eastern Region, TJ Donovan, has taken his seat. We'll get underway. Listen, so I'm Warren Healey, Massachusetts Attorney General, and along with Attorney General TJ Donovan from the great state of Vermont, we are delighted to be hosting you all for this really, I think, cool Eastern Region meeting and conversation. And I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank all the panelists and the presenters who are participating today. As you've seen, we've really brought together some of the leading voices in clean energy and climate in the country. And we're going to have the benefit of hearing from them today, so we're very lucky. I want to thank as well NAAG, the National Association of Attorneys General. Chris Toth and the team do amazing work across a number of fronts, and I want to thank you for putting this program together, along with members of my team in the Attorney General's office, specifically Melissa Hoffer, Rebecca Tepper, Christoph Corshane, Elizabeth Mahoney, Dave Cavell, Fiona Dwyer-McNulty, and Mike Firestone, who have worked really hard over many months to bring this together. I also want to acknowledge the hardworking attorneys and staff in AG offices up and down the Eastern Seaboard represented here today. You guys work so hard on so many fronts. We're the ones who get our pictures in the paper and the headlines, but believe me, we all know who's doing the work and making it happen, and certainly the work in this space has been incredibly important as we look at basically what's happened in the federal government, which is either the direct abdication of responsibility when it comes to addressing real issues of this climate crisis, or efforts, even worse, to undermine the prerogative that we maintain to address the climate crisis, protect public health, and the like. So thank you guys for everything that you do day in and day out. And finally, to my colleagues, I am so lucky to work with such terrific colleagues, all of whom I enjoy so much. And today we have an outstanding showing. We have Attorney General Aaron Fry of Maine with us this morning, Attorney General Gordon MacDonald of New Hampshire, Attorney General William Tom of Connecticut, Attorney General Carl Racine of District of Columbia, and Attorney General Brian Frosch of Maryland. The Red Sox play the Orioles tonight. A.G. Frosch, you're all alone, because I think looking at everything, maybe with the exception of Racine, we're all Red Sox fans. I won't note that we're 18 games out, so it doesn't really matter. We did win the World Series last year. So I hope that the presence of so many of my colleagues, I mean, this is really underscoring, I think, the priority that each of us has placed on addressing the climate crisis and helping lead our states, our region, and yes, our country through the clean energy transformation that we know must happen. I also want to recommend to you a report published today by the State Impact Center at NYU and available here, which details the breadth of the ongoing work of state AGs in advancing a clean energy future. Thank you, David Hayes, and your team. Now, before I introduce our fabulous speaker, I just want to say something about the moment that we're in. This conference comes just a week after the global climate strike that brought millions of students, children, and people from all walks of life around the world into the streets to demand that government act now to transition away from fossil fuels to a clean energy future. I'm sure many of you found a crowd last Friday to stand with, to join with. I did down at Boston City Hall, and I was so overwhelmed by the numbers that continued throughout the day, and also by the number of young people who, I guess we'll have to give passes to skip school, who were there, with their signs, with their voices, and most importantly, with their fierce determination and spirit to make sure that we, those of us in power, do what we need to do now. It also comes on the heels of this week's UN Summit on Climate, where scientists announced that the effects of climate change will be felt harder and sooner than ever previously forecast. I think we were all struck by the words of Greta Thunberg, who literally sailed across an ocean to speak to world leaders. And it comes, of course, just days after the latest assault by the Trump administration in its unprecedented campaign to halt federal and state efforts to protect air, water, and climate. This week, they're working to undermine long-standing, successful state efforts led by California to reduce tailpipe emissions from cars and trucks. We're fortunate to be joined today by so many attorneys working to fight that rollback and many others, as well as some of the strikers, scientists, business leaders, public officials, and organizers who have helped bring us to this point. Although the challenges in front of us are immense, I believe there is a reason for optimism. Because as I look out at the people in this room, I think about the work that you're engaged in, and I think about the way you've already started to help turn the tide. Today in our panels and with our speakers, including former U.S. Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz and our lunchtime speaker, Professor Shalonda Baker, we'll be exploring three concepts that are central to advancing clean energy and climate progress in the Northeast and beyond. Namely, developing the tremendous potential of Atlantic offshore wind, decarbonizing the transportation sector, and placing equity and opportunity at the center of climate and resilience planning. On each of these topics, now and in the years ahead, I believe that states and local governments, private industry, and the nonprofit sector, as well as state AGs, have a critical role to play. And I hope you leave here as heartened and as excited by these discussions as I know I will be.